was supposed to be an easy job, 250 grand to take out some nobody in a rural area. I didn't much care for the details on who he was. All I needed was a full name with a picture to make magic happen. This job came with a special request: artistic handiwork with a knife, no long range. Target was an old white male, mid-60s, balding and wears glasses. I scoped out his place a month beforehand. He was way out there in the middle of nowhere. I never saw him leave his ranch-style place within that time. He just sat on the porch reading a book occasionally. At night, he just stared out the window with a cup of coffee, shotgun in hand. In fact, I never remember actually seeing the guy go to sleep. He seemed like he was waiting for something. There were rumors of some fucked up people in those rural parts. I figured the old man was just paranoid about that, or some kind of war vet with old habits. My opening was a mail delivery guy who showed up to his house every Thursday in a typical style postal truck, no doors on either side. The delivery guy would show up at 2 p.m. sharp, get out of his car, knock on the door. The old man would answer and chat for a bit, and that was my opening. I preferred working at night, but this guy seemed heavily alert then. I needed to stay within the course of his normal routine to not raise suspicion. Lucky for me, the delivery guy was my height, my skin tone, and wore a ball cap. I could easily pass for him with a pull-down baseball cap and the same uniform. I preferred to work at night, but even in the day there was nobody around this place for miles. I intercepted the delivery van at an empty and isolated intersection 10 miles from the target's house. I pretended I had car troubles to lure him out. I placed a round from the Glock I had tucked away in the back of his head the second his back was turned. There was no need for the dead weight of a silencer out here. I had scoped this area out enough to feel confident in that. I stashed my car in the surrounding woods, changed cloths with the body, and shoved it in a grave I made the previous night. Pre-planning is vital in this work. I brought my own ball cap. I knew I would make a mess of the one he wore. The name stitched into the shirt read, Toby. I pulled up to the house at 2 p.m. on the dot. My knife was concealed under the package I was carrying, and my pistol was tucked away in my pants in case of any unforeseen circumstances. My red flags went off when I saw the door was cracked open. My gut told me to get out, but I was only thinking about the hefty sum of the contract. I pulled my pistol out and entered the house. I entered a kitchen that overlooked a large living room. In the living room, the old man was suspended at chest level. Hooks pierced his arms and legs. The chains attached to them stretched to the ceiling and kept him swaying parallel to the floor like a human hammock. I heard footsteps coming from the hallway and hid myself under a draped dinner table. I peered out from the bottom of the drapes to see 6 black-hooded figures surrounding the old man. I tried my best to hold back the vomit that wanted to come out. One figure disrobed, revealing a young female, completely naked. She couldn't have been more than maybe 19 or early 20s. Her face had a disturbing smile as she laid underneath the hanging old man. The old man suddenly started jolting and violently moving, pleading to be let go. The girl just laid underneath him, eye to eye, smiling at him. Another figure disrobed after the old man pleaded more. He was a young guy, pale and skinny with blonde hair. He looked slightly older than the girl, but bore a striking resemblance. He had these piercing big green eyes I could easily make out from the distance I was at. Standing naked with a knife in hand, he gutted the old man like fucking cattle. Blood sprayed on the girl lying below as she seemed to smile wider at every scream from the old man's mouth. With a look of euphoric satisfaction, the man dropped the knife and placed himself on top of the blood-soaked female. They went at it fucking in a violent blood frenzy while the last few moans of the old man rang the air. His eventual silence confirmed he was dead. The 4 hooded figures stood still and faced this scene as it happened in the 4 corners of the room. They chanted this demonic hymn the I can't get it out of my head even right now as I say this. We call on you, O Nameless One, Lord of Chaos. You who answered Lucifer's call and swayed the angels who fought you, who killed the first angel, the first to cause heaven to fear. You whose name God forbids to be spoken, erased from history, an eternal bastard. You who show mercy to those who are merciless with you. You will rise to your kingdom. You will take both thrones. We are your vessels. Guide us to power through your will. Every nerve in my body ran cold as I watched this messed up scene. I wanted to run for the door, but I was scared shitless to move. The door was a clear shot visual from the ritual taking place. No way I could have gotten out without being seen. I did have a gun, but I didn't want to risk the possibility of some asshole friend of theirs outside locked and loaded. The old man had at least a shotgun in the house from when I observed him at night, and I had no visual on it. With my mind running in different directions for an opportunity to get out of there, I heard the young blonde guy starting to scream, "Oh, thank you, my lord. Thank you for your graceful presence in me," he screamed. The guy fell to the floor and started convulsing. He laid still for a few moments, then slowly picked himself up, keeping his eyes closed. When he finally opened his eyes, they weren't green anymore. Both his eyes were a blinding yellow, almost like gold, no pupils. I had to turn my head at first because it almost hurt to look at them. When I put my eyes back below the space of the tablecloth to see the event unfolding, I was met with the two yellow eyes. He was poised like a cat with his head bent enough to meet me at eye level. Before I could scream, he grabbed me by my neck and pulled me from under the table. I struggled to fight and violently jerked, but he stood up and lifted me over his head with one hand, like I didn't weigh a thing. My gun fell out of my hand during the struggle. He held me by my neck over his head for several moments, studying me, tilting his head left to right occasionally. He finally threw me on the table and spoke after ripping the stitched lettering that said Toby on my shirt. "You're not Toby. Don't you know it's rude to go where you weren't invited?" His deep voice rattled my brain. He smiled as he spoke, and the other people in the room were now bowing on their hands and knees directly behind him. "I think you should join us in a game since you're already here. How about hide and seek?" The hooded figures and blood-soaked girl suddenly started going crazy once he said, "Hide and seek." They jumped up and down, clapping their hands like little kids shouting over and over, "Hide and seek! Hide and seek!" He put his right hand up in the air, and everyone immediately shut up and went back to bowing on their hands and knees. "There you have it, my children. We shall give him a head start. First prize to the one who finds him, his genitals," he said with a grin. I freaked the fuck out when he said this. Flight mode kicked in, and I rolled off the table and sprinted for the door. The sunlight of the day was still bright as I sprinted to the van. Once I got to it, the gold-eyed thing was sitting in the driver's seat, still naked and blood-soaked. Startled, I fell to the ground while gasping for breath. I almost forgot. "Tell Toby he's late when you see him." He stepped out of the van and casually walked back into the house. I jetted the hell out of there as fast as I could floor the van. In the rear view, I noticed a lot of hooded figures standing on the porch of the house. Way more than what was in that room with me. Probably close to 20. I got back to the site where I stashed my car. I just wanted to get the fuck out of there and far away. Before I could open the door, I saw a reflection in the window of someone standing directly behind me. A tall, olive-skinned guy, nothing on but his underwear. Dirt all over him from digging himself out of that grave. A hole where his right eye used to be with oozing remnants of it. It was Toby. "I killed you," I said. "Anything is possible in the grace of the Nameless One," Toby said. Toby smashed my face into the driver's side window and turned me around to face him while I was dazed. His one good eye stared me up and down as he kept one hand on my throat. "Did he speak to you? Did you see him?" he said in a way that sounded like a kid getting excited. "He said you're late," was the only thing I could think of to say while I was dazed and bleeding. Tears immediately fell from Toby's good eye. He clenched my throat harder and felt through my pants. He grabbed the knife I had tucked away. "It's not my fault," he yelled as he let me go. "It's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault," he yelled, sobbing and crying. Toby then dropped his underwear to the ground, still sobbing. He turned his back and slowly started moving the knife to his precious jewels. I didn't stay around to see that shit. I hoisted myself into my car with what little strength I had left and hit the engine. I floored it while seeing Toby in my rearview mirror doing to himself what kind of pain I hoped to never feel. I went from hotel to hotel for the past 2 months, never staying in the same place each night. This morning I got a call that woke me up. It was a little girl's voice saying, "I found you." I've been barricaded in this hotel bathroom since then. All I have in here is my phone, my laptop, and a revolver with 5 shots. I can hear people outside the door. They've been banging on it for the past 4 hours. I tried calling the cops, but when I do, I get the same voice that says, "I found you." The people outside the door are now whispering to come play with them. An hour ago, they were whispering every name of every person I ever took out on a contract, just fucking with me. My battery will run out soon. I'm afraid of dying. I don't want to, but I'm more afraid of being mutilated by those bastards and whatever other sick shit they plan on doing to me. Shortly after anyone reads this, I'll probably have already put a round to my head. I don't know any real details on who those freaks are or